Hey, what is up, mortals? It's TallDragon here, and before we get into today's video, there's something I'd like to say. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go in the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, if this video hits 300 likes by the end of the week, we will continue this what if. Thirdly, if you didn't know, only 41.3% of you guys are subscribed to us, so please hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the story.
So, Izuku, was it? I have no doubt that you're strong, judging from the bruises and soreness in my leg, but have you ever fought with a weapon before?
Stain didn't sound mad, but almost impressed. Izuku shook his head. The only fights I've been in have been unarmed, even my assault on Mandalay. He felt himself swell with pride at the memory. He had beaten a pro hero, in hand-to-hand combat at that. Sure, she was sick and caught off guard, but she still should have held the advantage.
Your weapon is an extension of your body. Moving and fighting with one should feel as natural as throwing punches and kicks. Otherwise, you leave yourself vulnerable, and against a pro hero, a single moment of weakness is all it will take to put you down.
Stain was always serious. Izuku was convinced he hadn't seen him smile in the last few days of hiding. Izuku spun his metal staff a couple of times, feeling its weight as it silently hummed through the air around him. An extension of his body? The concept was foreign to him. How could this long metal rod ever possibly feel like it was a part of him?
Now, Izuku, I want you to attack me as best as you can. I won't fight back, but I will do my best to avoid and counter your blows. If you can manage to hit me, then I think maybe you'll be ready to come out into the city with me for the next part of your training.
Stain slowly drew his sword from its sheath. It was short for a weapon, especially compared to Izuku's staff, which was about a foot taller than he was. The first trial was over in an instant. Izuku dashed towards Stain, spinning his staff behind him, but in the process he hit his own shin and collapsed in pain. For the first time since their meeting, Izuku heard Stain chuckle.
This is going to be a very long training period if you keep this up,
Stain mumbled from beneath his mask. Izuku stood up, grimacing through the pain in his leg. He got back into his starting position, and they began again. This time, Izuku managed to get his staff into a good position without hitting himself, and swung full force at Stain's head. Stain ducked beneath the blow easily and quickly strafed around Izuku. Izuku turned quickly, bringing the staff with him and swinging again, but again Stain ducked beneath the blow. This continued for a while until Izuku could no longer muster the strength or stamina to swing again, and he fell into the cold, soft grass, panting.
You keep swinging for my head, Izuku. That's too predictable. The attack can be seen coming from a mile away, and you tire yourself out too quickly by putting all of your force into every strike. The only strike that needs that much power is the final one,
Stain explained to the exhausted Izuku.
Try to get me off balance, or reeling from other attacks. Attack the joints at extremities, move side to side, throw kicks or try to grab. Fight for position until you feel almost 100% sure that you can land that final blow to end the fight. And then muster up whatever you have left to land it. For now, catch your breath.
Izuku laid in the grass for a few minutes before standing up and stretching. Stain, who was sitting against a tree nearby staring at the sky, looked over at him expectantly. It was time to start again. Izuku took a deep breath before starting this time, focusing on Stain's stance and guard, looking for weaknesses to exploit. It was hard to find any. Stain was an experienced fighter of pro heroes. Every bit of his fighting style and movement was precise, right down to the slight tilt of his head to see around his blade. Izuku dashed forward again, but this time scooped up a handful of dirt and grass and launched it at Stain. He swung through the floating debris, using only half of his staff and aiming lower this time, attempting to hit Stain in his arms or ribs. Stain dodged to the side and easily blocked the attack, but Izuku had thought through this fight. He quickly pivoted, bringing the other half of the staff around his back and swung again. Stain stumbled, but managed to bring his sword around to catch the blow head-on. The weight of the metal staff nearly pushed the sword against his body, and he barely maintained enough leverage to shove the staff back. Izuku had him in a good position now. He just had to keep pressing, he thought to himself. He dropped low and pulled the staff with him, causing Stain to suddenly stagger forward from the effort he was putting in to hold the staff back. Izuku threw a sharp kick now to off-balance him, knocking his feet out from under him. Stain landed hard on the grass, and Izuku swung his staff downward with all of his strength. And he hit the grass. Where Stain had just been was now empty space. Stain had rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the blow, and had recovered his posture and stance. Izuku was tired already. Somehow fighting more technical was harder than an all-out assault. The precise movements and constant level changes was more intense, but he wasn't out of the fight yet. Izuku took a deep breath to calm himself once more. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through his body, sharpening his senses. The grass trick won't work twice on somebody like Stain. He would have to catch him with something else. He thought back to how Stain had struggled against the weight of the staff, and then came up with another attack plan. Izuku attacked again, bringing his staff down in an overhead strike. Stain attempted to sidestep and defect the blow, but Izuku changed his angle to meet the blade head-on. The force of the strike drove Stain to his knees as he once again struggled against the superior weight of Izuku's metal staff. Stain turned his blade, forcing the end of the staff into the soft earth next to him, but was instantly met with a shattering knee to his chest. The blow forced the air from his body, and he was knocked flat on his back. Izuku stomped on his chest and swung his staff down toward Stain's head like a golf club. Stain closed his eyes. Izuku stopped his attack mere inches away from Stain. The surrounding forest was quiet, save only for their heavy breathing.
Well done, Izuku.
Stain let out a small sigh.
You're an exceptional student. You went from tripping over your own weapon to utilizing the environment and my own weaknesses to achieve victory. However, I wasn't fighting back, and heroes in the world won't be nearly as merciful. Go put on your gear, and we'll go out for a little walk around the city.
The air was crisp in the later hours of the night. Stain and Izuku were perched high above the city on a local office building. Both of them had eyes glued to their binoculars as they scanned the sidewalks below, looking for pro heroes out on patrol. It was a Saturday night, and the streets were crowded with plenty of partygoers and others looking for a nice night out on the town. Stain reached over and tapped Izuku on the shoulder.
Over there by the neon ramen sign, sitting on the bench outside,
Stain whispered. He didn't want to risk any sound-sensitive heroes picking up on their suspicious reconnaissance. Izuku moved his view over to where Stain had mentioned. Sure enough, sitting outside the brightly lit building was none other than Shinji Nishia, known in the pro-hero scene as Kamui Woods. He was currently the 7th top hero, and for good reason. He was small and fast, but still muscular and physically strong. With a powerful quirk and a devastating non-lethal special move, he could use his wooden appendages to trap virtually any would-be villain inside until police or backup arrived. Was this Stain's next target?
We should watch him, see where he patrols, or if this is the area he's chosen to sit and stand guard. After a few nights of this, we can be pretty certain he won't change his routine, and we can find somewhere further away to pick a target.
Stain was cold and calculating, necessary traits to have for someone who usually works alone and against all odds. Izuku admired this about Stain. He was a well-known hero hunter, and yet he still managed to find the perfect openings to strike using his methodical recon and hunting tactics. Izuku was somewhat relieved that Kamui Woods wasn't the next target. He didn't want his first mission to end in complete disaster. The rest of the night passed by without event. Kamui Woods stood up to stretch a few times, and halfway through the night he was brought a bowl of ramen from the shop owner, probably free of charge or payment for protecting the area outside of the shop, Izuku thought to himself angrily. Typical hero. Doesn't even have to pay for his meals, while others struggle day to day not knowing when their next one would be. As the lights around the city began to go out, the pro-hero stood up and began his walk home. Stain and Izuku followed his path, making note of the direction and time it took him to disappear from their view. After he was gone, they both moved to the back side of the building and began their walk back to their base in the middle of the forest bordering the city.
Stop right there!
The shout froze both of them in their tracks. Stain and Izuku slowly turned around, hands on their weapons, to see a tall man wreathed in flame at the entrance of the alley.
Hero killer Stain,
the man grunted.
A parasite on society, and a stain on this city. You're coming with me, and the boy you have with you. I don't know him, but if he's with you willingly, then he's just as worthless as you are.
Izuku pulled out his staff, but Stain put a hand out to stop him. The flaming man stepped into the light. It was Enji Todoroki, the pro-hero Endeavor. Standing at just under 6 feet and 5 inches tall, the man was built like a tank. The number 2 top professional hero. One of the biggest disappointments to the word hero, Izuku thought to himself. Endeavor was cruel, abusive, and had a severely inflated sense of arrogance and disrespect. From what Izuku had heard, his son Shoto Todoroki had been admitted to UA School of Heroes without having to participate in any of the usual recommendation tests. Typical entitled hero family. Seeing one of the highest ranked and honored heroes standing before him made Izuku's blood boil. This man was a scam. He didn't deserve the respect he was given.
I am only going to ask you once more, Stain. Come with me or things will get very aggressive very fast.
Endeavor held his hands out. The heat from the idle flames were enough to drive off the cool air.
Izuku, run!
Stain shouted. Izuku wasted no time in turning and sprinting away as fast as his legs would carry him. He heard the shouts of Stain and Endeavor behind him, and the searing heat from Endeavor's attacks. The entire alley was flashing from the flurry of blows that Izuku only hoped Stain was avoiding. He turned just in time to see Endeavor's massive fist smash into Stain's chest, knocking the hero killer clean off his feet and into the nearest building. Izuku's eyes began to tear, but he remembered what Stain had said. He had to get away. He had to get back to the hideout and figure out what to do next. With tears streaming down his face and hatred hotter than Endeavor's flames, he ran alone into the dark embrace of the forest. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video as well as the editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you're interested, hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have an amazing day.